imagine the excitement of the anticipation. And you have to wait a week. And he probably hung out with Peter, and he's following Peter around now, Peter, James, and John, and whatever. He's like, I'm sticking with you guys till it happens again. Because this got to happen again. It happened again. That kind of fits with his mentality of kind of fits with his personality of knowing where the future holds, knowing what the future is perceived. I want to step back before I miss it, before I overrun it. If you want to know where Thomas is mentioned again, it's John chapter 14, verse 5. John chapter 14, verse 6 is a famous verse that we've all heard a million times probably, whether we know it or not. John chapter 14, verse 5 says, Thomas said to him, well, verse 4, first of all, Jesus is saying, and you know, verse 3, and I go to prepare a place for you. I will come again and will take you to myself, that here I am, that where I am, there you may also be. And you know the way, way to the place where I'm going. And Thomas said to him, Lord, we do not know where you are going. How can we know the way? Jesus says, what? I am the way, the truth, and the life. Thomas's idea is, I've got to see concrete. God, you, Jesus, I've sold myself to, I've committed myself to your ministry, and then you say you're leaving me, and now that you left me, you said you are the way. I need to know the way. How? Show me the way. And Jesus says, you know me. I'm the way. It's the same thing here. You said you're alive. You said that Jesus is alive, and flesh and blood again. I want to see it. I want to touch it. I want to know it. When Jesus appeared, Jesus didn't say, he didn't look at Thomas and mock him, did he? He didn't look at Jesus. He didn't. Jesus walked into the room and didn't say, "You didn't believe I'm here, you stupid person, you moron." No, Jesus walks into the room and the first thing he says is, "I can see it now. I envision it this way. This is just me thinking." And Jesus walks into the room. And he says, peace be with you, because everybody's freaking out again. And he goes to Thomas. And he says, Thomas, see my hands? Go ahead, put your hand there. See this thing on my side? Go ahead, touch it. It's okay. Jesus gives him what he needs to continue on. Everything we see in the next of these stories is that Jesus doesn't sit there and laugh at you and say, you didn't believe me, you should have believed me, or you didn't see this, is he gives them what they need to continue on. And then Thomas says the phrase that he should be famous for. Because he fell down on his knees and he says, my Lord and my God. The first and only time Jesus is called God by somebody else in the whole Gospels. He's called Son of David. He's called the Son of Man. He's called the Christ. He's called the Messiah. He's called the Shepherd. He's called liar. He's called a lunatic. He's called crazy. He's called every name that was supposed to be given to the Messiah. He was called that by somebody in the Gospels. Until Thomas sits down, kneels down, and says, you are more than just the Messiah. You are God. You are God. You're my God. I believe Thomas is the first salvation in the Bible. The first one to acknowledge this. Everybody else said, yeah, this guy's the Messiah. And Thomas is the first one to point out that this is more than just the expected one. This guy is God. And if you read through John You went through John, you realize Jesus has been saying he's God the whole time. I am. Before Abraham was, I am. I am the bread of life. I am the true vine. I am the light of the world. And when he says I am, he's using the same syntax as God told Moses in the burning bush. I am that I am. He's using the same words. This is the first time that somebody else mentioned that you are God. From a doubter, a pessimist, realist, a man of action, a man of faith, a man who sold himself to the ministry, who's bought into the vision of the gospel of Christ. He didn't hide. See, I think the problem is we've got so many people wanting to hide out in our churches, wanting to hide out in our ministries. Just saying, okay, I just want to collect as many Christians as I possibly can. I want to close ourselves up in a locked room, and I want to worship in our church and be safe with everybody else. See, God doesn't ask for that. God wants us out there talking to people, doing things. He wants us to buy into the ministry, serve the world, and change the world. We're only going to change the world by serving the world. We're only going to affect this campus by serving this campus. We're only going to change things by actually going out there and telling people about Christ and not just collecting more Christians to be safe with. We keep our safety. We come together. God brings us together when He needs us to. He wants us to go out there in pairs. He wants us to be a family. He wants us to be a community. He wants us to be a family. But He just doesn't want us to stay locked up in our doors and not telling about it. He wants us out there telling people, pushing the ministry forward. It's evident. I think about the book of Acts, and I think about the things that happened afterwards, because the apostles stayed together in Jerusalem for a while. And then something happened that they needed deacons to come in. And then the stoning of Stephen happens, and people scattered. And the gospel was spread to other places. It's when we go out there. It's when we buy into the vision and move forward that God works in our lives. Jesus says to him, after he said, "My Lord and my God," Jesus said to him, "Have you believed because you have seen me? Blessed are those who have not seen, and yet have come to believe." The next time we see Thomas, blessed are you who have not seen and still believe. I say this, God will give you what you need to continue to follow Him. God will give you what you're looking for. You need some proof. God will prove Himself to you in His own way, in a way that you will understand, that you will need. God will give it to you. Trust me. Trust Him. I say the next time we see Thomas will be the story we're going to be talking about next week, when Peter says, "I give up, I'm going fishing." Thomas went with him. Sorry. Thomas went with him. He hung out because he said, "Hey, you guys saw Jesus. I haven't seen Jesus on my own. I'm going to hang out with you guys." It's good. So, I guess to sum this all up is, do what you got to do. Follow Jesus. Buy into His vision. Figure out what is your role in bringing forward this thing called Christianity. What is your role in winning your world for Christ? How are you going to fit into it? And what do you need from God to help push you forward or keep you on the right direction? Especially those of you who are leading this place. What are you going to need when you leave this place? What are you going to need at your jobs? What are you going to need at your house? What are you going to need in your families? What are you going to need at the grocery store? What are you going to need in the next town you live in? ask God for it, and guess what? God will give it to you. Even if you don't know what you need, He'll give it to you.